Wanna be Ryan the Great, and today we are talking the NBA Finals, guys. The Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the Indiana Pacers in 7 games to capture their first NBA championship in franchise history. The Oklahoma City Thunder were able to win after Tyrese Halliburton went down with a right torn Achilles, and now they are NBA champions. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the fourth player in NBA history to win an MVP, the scoring title or the Finals MVP. It's something like that. But yeah, he has been an incredible. And then obviously Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren contributing their efforts as well. So yeah, in this video, we're going to be talking about why the Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA championship. Then we'll break down what's next for the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder themselves. We'll also be asking the question, can this be the start of a dynasty? We have not had a repeat champion, though, since the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors. So it has been a bit. But yeah, let's get into the video. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Linda Great Vlogs. Make sure you go subscribe to my second channel at Run the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Run the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan Sully Sports Media. No, it's a bit of a different background. We are on vacation until Thursday, so you guys will see this video and our NBA draft prediction video, or mock draft video, I guess you should say, with this background as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. Also, I didn't bring the headphones and the microphone, so I don't know if the audio is not as great as we would want it to be, but let's get right into it. Starting off, why did the Oklahoma City Thunder win the NBA championship? Well, as I said when we were starting off the NBA Finals, I did a preview video and all that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to touch the basketball every single possession. When he touches the basketball, the Thunder are a lot better of a basketball team. He's able to distribute the ball, not necessarily to get the assist, but he can get the pass to the assist. Maybe he sets up the play, something around there. He has to touch the ball every single possession. And you saw possessions when maybe he was out of the game or when he just didn't get a touch at all. The Thunder really didn't score that much. You did see a couple occasions when Jalen Williams was able to, maybe make a pull-up three, or maybe he was able to drive inside or something like that. But most of the time, the Thunder were scoring the ball when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got a touch on the floor. I understand, they didn't really score much, though, when he was off the floor. The guys did step up, though, in games that they were more dominant in when the role players were, playing their role, I guess you should say. But overall, when Shai was on the floor and he got a touch, the ball normally ended up in the rim, whether that was from him or from one of his teammates. And they were able to do that. Mark Daigneault, the coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, realized that, and he was able to make sure that they passed the ball accordingly. And Shai got a touch on every single possession. So obviously, the point guard, so he should be getting a touch nonetheless. And then the depth was consistent. Listen, I know in Game 7 that the Thunder were going to have to really fight and claw while Tyrese Halliburton was in the game. Obviously, when he went out, it was kind of a foregone conclusion there in the second half. But the depth, for the most part, was consistent. I know Game 1 was blown and stuff like that, but I do think that was more of the coaching issue based off the fact that they changed the starting lineup without even playing a game. So I'm not necessarily going to blame the role players for that. But overall, I thought the role players played pretty well in this series. Obviously, in a couple of games, in Game 3 and stuff like that. Game 6, they just didn't play that great. They didn't play great on the road, which wasn't good. But at home, when the role players are supposed to show up, role players always are supposed to be showing up at home. That's kind of, their role. I feel like I should be intending these puns here, but I'm not. Nonetheless, their roles should be, the play great at home, do what they do there. Obviously, you want to have some consistency on the road, but at home, that's when they're expected normally, and that's when they have the expectations to, step up to the plate and, provide for the team. So good on them for doing that. And then, the scoring runs, I guess you should say. I have big-time threes up here, but the scoring runs, there was a lot of momentum. There were just so many occasions where the Thunder would get really, really hot, and the Pacers just couldn't really do anything about it. Guys were knocking down shots. They were moving the ball well. They were able to get turnovers. The Pacers had a lot of turnovers in this series, but that's due to the Oklahoma City Thunder's great defense. We'll talk about that in a few minutes here. But, when you're looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were just pedal to the metal. I have that on my on one of my bullet points here. They were absolutely incredible when it came to getting these scoring runs. There was times where they would get really, really cold, and sometimes there wouldn't be no in between. But for the most part, they were going on some great scoring runs, which really helped them win. Obviously, the culmination of the championship was like a 40-20 scoring run. I know that they got cold at the end of the game, and the Pacers could have had a near comeback without Halliburton, that being in Game 7. But they were able to pull through, obviously. And the scoring runs definitely really helped them. And big time threes from guys like Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, and alike. So you got to give them credit where credit is due. And they made the Pacers run their half-court offense. Listen, every time the Thunder would turn over the basketball, they would do their best to try and get back in transition defensively to not let the Pacers score in transition, not let them really move the ball. And the Pacers are a pedal to the metal team. I said this coming into the finals. No matter if you're up by 20, you can't really stop. These are two teams that have to keep moving. They have to keep scoring the basketball. They have to really run up the score, or they're going to end up losing the game. So, and that's kind of what the pace and space era really is, and that's how teams are developed. So 20-point leads don't really mean that much as they did 10, 15 years ago. But, the Thunder were able to slow the Pacers down offensively. They were playing with them at half court. They weren't necessarily stealing the ball, but they weren't really letting Tyrese Halliburton, once he gets up, from a deep three range, they weren't letting him distribute the basketball for them to set up a play. So you got to give credit where credit is due to the coaching, the Thunder for executing on that. Guys like Alex Caruso, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, who was incredible defensively in this series. He's like a freaking linebacker playing basketball. But yeah, that was just great execution from the Oklahoma City Thunder. You got to give them credit. And as I just said, pedal to the metal for 48 minutes. Obviously, in the first game, they took their foot off the gas and they ended up blowing the game. But then for the most part, they were always trying to get the ball on the rim. They never stopped. They just kept running and running and running. Obviously, playing aggressive defensively, moving the ball around offensively, getting everybody their pieces. Obviously, Jalen Williams doing what he did best as well in Game 5. And then obviously everybody else showing up when it mattered. Nobody can say that. I guess some people want to discredit this championship as being a fluke title win. Listen, it's hard because I did criticize the Boston Celtics last year for going out with winning championship with all the injuries that teams face. But I will make the argument that the Memphis Grizzlies had no chance with or without Ja Morant in there. And then I think that they would have beaten the Timberwolves with even though Anthony Edwards got injured. Aaron Gordon, definitely a big problem that they lost. So you could possibly say that they could have gone out there. So that one I could definitely give you. So, but at this point, I don't even know. It's hard to tell. Obviously, Halliburton getting injured was very unfortunate, but it worked out in the favor of the Thunder. Unfortunately, that being just because of the fact you wanted to see a great Game 7, and that's not what we saw at the end of the day. So, it's a shame, but credit to the Thunder for making these second half adjustments, as I mentioned it on one of my Twitter posts or X posts, whatever you want to call it. That they made the second half adjustments, and the Pacers were staying with them. But obviously, without Halliburton, they really didn't have much of a chance, just because of how great the Thunder is and how needy the Pacers are of Tyrese Halliburton. So yeah, moving on though to the Pacers. What's next for them? Obviously, they just lost the finals. It looks like Tyrese Halliburton is going to be out all of next season, if not pretty much most of it all of next season. With a torn Achilles injury. We've seen 3 torn Achilles in these playoffs, that coming from Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and now Tyrese Halliburton. It's just so unfortunate to see what is going on here in the NBA over the past couple of months to see all these injuries, and you're gonna have a lot of highly rated players out of the season next year, but the East is definitely going to be open. But what's next for the Indiana Pacers? Their salary, I mean, it looks good. They're going to be below the second apron. And pretty much everybody's under contract for the foreseeable future. I understand Halliburton's going to be out, but you have him under contract. Pascal Siakam, he's going to be locked up for the next 3 years. Obi Toppin, who was a big contributor as well. Nesmith has 2 years left on his deal. McConnell locked up for a long time. You're not paying him that much either. Mathurin obviously is going to be his last year, but you might have to worry about that in the offseason or next offseason. Obviously, guys like Ben Shepherd have 2 years left on their deal. Do you want to bring back Isaiah Jackson? That's a big question there. And then, you just look at some of the other guys. Nemhard's locked in. Tony Bradley made some was contributing a little bit to the Pacers in their playoff run. He has a year left on his contract. So everybody's pretty much locked up except for Miles Turner. And, Turner is definitely going to be looked at as one of the, I don't know if I would say high value free agent, because in the NBA now, as a big man, you have to be able to shoot. And he was terrible from three in these playoffs. And I don't really remember his free throw percentage, but you get my point. You have to be able to shoot in these as a big man in the NBA now, especially in the playoffs. When the stakes are high and you need the most points possible, and you need to get on all these runs. So you need to be able to do that. But anyway, if I were the Pacers, I would definitely want to bring back Turner. There's no reason why you shouldn't let him walk. I guess I would offer him 3 years, $90 million. I don't know, but if you could possibly be outbid, the Pacers have talked about, wanting to possibly go into the luxury tax, to pay some more dollars, go over the bit of the cap a little bit, just so they could keep their roster. So I don't know, maybe they would be interested in doing that. We'll have to see, but that's the contract I would offer Miles Turner. I can't really see him a team offering him more than $30 million per season. It just doesn't really make that much sense. I think 3 years is kind of a good window of where, all your contracts are. It gives you a good window to try and get back to the championship after Tyrese Halliburton recovers from his injury. And yeah, you'd have to see there. But how long is Tyrese Halliburton going to be out for? It looks like he's going to be out for all of next season, maybe the majority of next season. Maybe he can come back late. But honestly, I wouldn't even risk it if I were the Indiana Pacers. You already risked him playing in Game 7 of the finals, and now he's going to be out for next season, and this is going to affect him for the rest of his career. So it's definitely tough, to know obviously the day of the day after when he is going to be back. But I'm going to assume he's going to be out all of next season. And if you're the Pacers, listen, the East is definitely going to be wide open. You don't know what's going to happen with teams like Milwaukee, Cleveland, Boston, and Philadelphia have an opportunity to get back in there. Miami haven't really been making that many big moves. The Pistons are on the rise, but it doesn't really seem like they're going to be able to add much when it comes to superstar talent or even star talent this offseason. There are a lot of teams right now that are kind of just there, and you don't really know what's going to happen to them. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see, what happens in the East, and we're going to have to go along with the ride together. But I can't really see the Pacers getting out of the East next season. When you got teams like the Cavs and you got teams like the Celtics will probably still be there even without Jason Tatum. And there are other teams that, can have an opportunity without Tyrese Halliburton, your point guard. It's going to be really, really tough. But once again, all you really got to do is sign Turner. I would try and bring this team back because, as I've said, all the guys are pretty much locked up for multiple years on end. So there really is no reason to panic. You can sign guys to contract extensions, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. Can the Oklahoma City Thunder create a dynasty? You're looking at their payroll as well. This also being from Basketball Reference. Shout out to them. They do a great job over there, putting up all the salaries and all that. Listen, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Chet Holmgren, and I believe Jalen Williams, all ready for contract extensions. So you are going to have to dip into your salary. Like Jalen Williams is being paid pretty much nothing, and you're going to have to sign him because he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and there are definitely going to be teams wanting to get him if he ever ends up on the free agent market. But I can't assume the Oklahoma City Thunder will do that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander definitely going to get the biggest contract extension in NBA history. There is no doubt about that in my mind that he will do that because he is just absolutely he's the MVP, won the scoring title, Western Conference Finals MVP, the MVP, Finals MVP. There wasn't anything that he wasn't the MVP of, so you have to sign him. Chet Holmgren eligible for an extension as well, another guy with just 1 year left on his contract, so you got to get him locked up. But with the way the new CBA works, it's going to be interesting to see, if the Thunder are going to be able to hold on to this roster with three players on max contracts. That's the problem with the new NBA and the new CBA. The second apron absolutely handicaps you if you go over it. And that's my biggest problem with the Boston Celtics, because they have so many guys on such big contracts that you can't really hold on to your roster. Like you're going to have to probably trade Drew Holiday this offseason. You might have to get rid of, like Porzingis might have to go. White might have to go. There are a lot of guys that might have to go. Peyton Pritchard. So there are a lot of guys that might have to go if you're the Boston Celtics just because of that second apron. You can't have so many guys under such big contracts. And that could be the case here with the Oklahoma City Thunder. To the point where they might not be able to hold on to really everybody. When you're looking at Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Alex Caruso, that being, I mean, he was probably one of his salary takes a big bump next season. So there's definitely a lot to think about if you are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Next season, I think you'll be fine. But in 2 and 3 years from now, how are you really going to shape out because of the fact that your roster and your salary cap is going to be so high? So I don't know. But what they can do is they can draft. I mean, listen, you look at all the draft picks they have. I believe they have 5 first-round picks in the next 4 years, something around there. I mean, you look at this, they have they have swap rights. I mean, they have pretty much everything here in the next 6 years to, continue to make a push. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, only 26 years old. So, and, 2025 to 2031, that's 5 years right there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will probably just be exiting his physical prime, and you have an opportunity to possibly start a dynasty here if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. I understand that, after everybody wins a championship, I don't know, but the new salary cap has kind of hurt teams in continuing to create dynasties because of the fact that you have to pay your guys so much more. So that kind of hurts there. But I think this could be a different case with the Oklahoma City Thunder just because of the fact you have so many draft picks. And if you lose some guys like an Alex Caruso or something like that, you can just use these draft picks and possibly trade for another guy like an Alex Caruso to fill that role on your team. Or you could just draft another guy and he could end up being, whoever that is could end up being another star on this team. I mean, the Thunder have done great when it comes to drafting here and making good free agent signings. I mean, you're looking at Chet Holmgren, you're looking at Jalen Williams, for example. Then they've made good signings as well. They've signed Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Joe was another big one. They traded for Alex Caruso. The Thunder, Sam Presti knew what he was doing in that front office, and there's no doubt in my mind that he could definitely hit on some of these draft picks. Also traded for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, in hindsight, that trade is just absolutely incredible. We all thought that the Clippers were going to have immediate success, and they didn't even get a championship out of it. But now the Thunder have an opportunity to make a dynasty with what they got out of that Paul George trade. So just absolutely incredible from Sam Presti. You got to give him credit where credit is due. But I think the Thunder can create a dynasty. I'm leaning more towards no, just based off the history of what we've seen over the past couple of years and the new CBA. And, some draft picks don't always work out. So you got to take that into consideration as well. So I don't know. We'll have to see. And then injuries is another problem as well. I forgot to bring that up. The last few championship teams have gotten injured. You just saw the Nuggets with Aaron Gordon. I mean, this is a 7-game series. Like, it's not like, the Thunder played 2 7-game series, these playoffs. So they get a lot less recovery time. It's literally late June. They got a lot less recovery time than any other team in the NBA. So same with the Pacers, but you get my point. That they get a lot less recovery time out of anybody in the NBA, and then they're gonna have that expectation to repeat just because of their roster and what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was able to do. So injuries could be a problem as well, just based off the fact that you play a lot of games. The Thunder played a lot of games this season, so we'll have to see. I'm leaning more towards no to answer this question, but it definitely could happen. I'm not saying it because they definitely have more of a chance than any of the other teams in the past couple of years to win a championship. Probably the best chance since the Warriors won since in 2015, just because of how young they were, and the salary cap wasn't really the way that it was as it is now. But yeah, that's just the finals breakdown, I guess you should say. Congrats to the Thunder. You got to give them credit. 68 win season. Nobody really, after I definitely criticized them. I don't really think they were deserving of getting the 1 seed last season. But yeah, now they came back and they were ready to go. They won the championship, so give them credit where it is due. I think that's it, honestly. I don't really think that we have much more to say. And we'll have the draft video here for you guys, just getting ready. Mock draft, and that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe with the post notifications on. Let me just make sure nothing happened while I was here. I think Chris Middleton picked up his option with the Wizards, but I don't think anybody cares about that. Nothing really much going on. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe with your post notifications on. You go subscribe to my Rolling Great blogs. Make sure to subscribe to my second channel at Round the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X, Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Round the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan Sully Sports Media. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.